Hey everybody, this is Gaynor Meilke from Charisma Inc. and Accounting Ignited. Today I want to give you a little framework that you can use for client prospecting. And this is something that comes up a lot with our clients who are looking to grow their client base or maybe even transition to a different client base is what the process is when you do outreach. And when we talk about outreach, that can be digital outreach, it could be networking at an event, or it could be, a cold email or even a referral from somebody that knows what you do for a living. And I like to use something that I actually heard recently from a another marketeer, which is really a 5 by 8, or it could even be a 7 by 10, some sort of numerical uh, equation that you use for prospecting. And the 5 by 8 refers to having 5 touches over the course of 8 days for new prospects. And you could also stretch that into 7 by 10, or depending on the life cycle of your prospecting and the sales cycle length. So, especially in business to business services like accounting and tax services or legal services, it's going to take longer than with a lot of consumer goods to close the sale. And that's because it's a usually a decision that is much more involved and may involve more people. And it can also have bigger impact on your livelihood or your business. So the risk of cognitive dissonance, which means the potential dissatisfaction with a choice, is much greater for higher value services that have more of a long-term impact. So if you think about it, a business to business transaction, especially if we take an accounting relationship, for example, is something that is really important in a business. And usually when we establish those, they're more long-term, and you're hoping that the accounting firm is going to um, help you over the long term rather than if you go and buy a milkshake at a fast food outlet, you know that it's really not, it would be nice if the milkshake was amazing. But if you have a so-so milkshake experience, you're going to recover a lot faster and you're probably going to spend less than $5 on the whole thing. So it's not impacting your business or your livelihood. And so for an accounting firm, the expectation should be that you're going to have a much longer sales cycle. And that's actually a good thing. I always say to my professional services provider clients, you don't want somebody who's going to drop you quickly. If somebody gets an email from another firm and they're working with you, you wouldn't expect, if you're doing a good job, that they're just going to say, "Oh, see you later." Or, think about new businesses. It could be a significant investment for them to want to do business with you. So that you need to earn their trust over a longer period of time, give them confidence and peace of mind that one, making the purchase is going to actually benefit them, and the cost is going to be diminished in their eyes because the benefit will be so great, and that they can afford it. Because if they've never engaged an accounting firm before, there could be some hesitation that they can actually afford it, which you can help them overcome pretty easily. So when we talk about like a sales prospecting equation, say we were going to do the 5 by 8 example, where you have a new prospect that comes in, let's say that you go to a networking event, that's touch 1 of 5. So that's the first day. And then the next day, touch 2 is going to be a follow-up email after you put them in your CRM. or connect with them on LinkedIn and send them a message just saying how great it was to meet them and that you'd love to schedule a call to talk about their situation more in depth with a link to your calendar or the next step to schedule that call. Or if you feel like it's worth meeting up with them in person or on Zoom right away, you can ask them to set an appointment time and kind of push that forward. Touch three, if we don't hear back from them on scheduling a call, should be a value add. So, it was great to connect with you. I wanted to share this resource about my firm. Maybe it's a checklist and how we can help you, um, or an ebook or something of value to that prospect. Take a look at this and then let me know if you have any questions. So that's touch three. Touch four, which would probably be on day 6 or 7 in the cycle. If they haven't responded after you send that value added resource, you can just pop in by email and say, did you have any questions about that? I'd really like to learn more about what you're looking for from a financial clarity standpoint. And here's my calendar link. If you do not hear from them again, like it's absolutely crickets, then I would add them to your CRM, your email CRM, if you haven't already, and put them in your nurture campaign after you sent one more follow-up to saying, hey, it was so great meeting you. I thought maybe we'd have a chance to connect. But, if now's too soon, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll send you periodic updates about important topics that may impact your business, and always feel free to reach out. And then I would put them on a quarterly cycle of just touching base as well, if you think that they would be a good fit for you. So that's an example of like 5 by 8. You can map out your customer journey and do any particular configuration you want. Usually there's the first touch is like when you first meet them, whether that's a referral source or the networking, or you're prospecting on LinkedIn, or they were an attendee of a webinar that you did, and then you roll it out from there. But one of the most important things is to gain their permission to keep the channel of communication open, provide value with some kind of resource or even like a particular issue that they may have mentioned, how you might be able to help them, or a case study of another company like theirs that you helped, and then don't give up. I think a lot of people give up too quickly. And with all of the distractions that people have these days and all of the other communication forms, you have to find what works for people. And sometimes you might send 10 emails and it's the 10th one that they answer. You can also try a direct mail piece. So a postcard can sometimes cut through the clutter with a QR code to schedule an appointment or download that resource. So I would say like 5 by 8 is a good starting point, but even more touches is better. So maybe 12 over 30, which would be, 12 touches over 30 days. And that's where you might incorporate some of the direct mail pieces, but try things out. Map out what the journey is for people when they get in touch with you from different means. And then how can you automate your catch up, whether that's LinkedIn prospecting, or there might be an email automation that you can do, or even delegating some of it to an assistant. So don't give up, just be proactive and be persistent until somebody tells you no, just not interested. A lot of times they're just distracted and they need the value case made for them multiple times or potentially multiple channels, and also in terms that they can understand and make it all about them. So that's a really quick kind of synopsis of some things that you should think about during the prospecting process and how you can set up an effective sales prospecting equation. And if you do have any questions about this or anything else with growing your preferred type of client pipeline or closing sales, feel free to email me, Gaynor, Gaynor, at charismainc.com, or check us out at charismainc.com or accountingignited.com for all of you accounting firms and tax professionals out there. So take care, and here's to growing your uh, pipeline with a sales and prospecting equation that you find effective and is something that will add value for those that you want as clients now and in the future.